Hi, everyone, and welcome to another FSLE interview. And everyone who is watching from the FlightSimExpo show in San Diego, hello and welcome. Unfortunately, not everyone could be there, myself included, but we are going to be re-recording a bunch of interviews, talking to developers who are going to be there or showcasing stuff off at the show. And right now, I am joined by Ben and Kyle, and we're going to be talking about the SimYourPlane hardware and stuff. So I'm going to hand the reins over to Ben. He's going to introduce himself, and then Kyle, you can introduce yourself as well, and then we can jump right into learning a little bit about your products.
Yeah, thanks, Callum. I appreciate it. And hello everyone from FS Expo. I guess I'll be watching myself again there while I'm there at the show. So SimYourPlane is a company I started a couple years ago. It's kind of been in the background, and as of recently, I've decided to kind of take that to the next level, turn it into a full turnkey product, and that's what I've been doing lately. And then Kyle's been one of our pilots and testers for the system, and so it's been great.
And yourself, Kyle, if you'd like to just give a brief intro about yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, my name's Kyle Fowler. I'm an air show performer. And about a year ago, Ben reached out to me with this really cool, unique idea for SimYourPlane. And he was looking for ways to get exposure to market, I guess. And air show planes are a great marketing platform to get to a vast audience, especially with I fly out shows like Oshkosh where it's all pilots, which is exactly what Ben is looking for. And we simmed my airplane, and I've been kind of a test platform on how things work, and it's been absolutely amazing. It's been a fun ride.
Amazing. So thank you so much to both of you for joining us. I think it's fair to say that probably most of our readers won't really know exactly what SimYourPlane is, or the hardware and stuff you've got at the show and what you're all about. So please tell us a bit more about this very unique product and kind of how it works.
Yeah, so SimYourPlane is exactly like the title says. So what we're doing is we're turning your airplane into a simulator. So most everyone, when they just get started into flight simulation, the first thing they do is go on Amazon or go on sporties.com or go to, really just any flight simulator website, and they Google search joystick, because you really can't fly with the keyboard and mouse. And they buy themselves that, a lot of times that $49 Logitech joystick that everyone starts with. And then they go, okay, great, I want the rudder pedals. And then, okay, great, I want the throttle part. Okay, great, I want the FMS, or I want the 430. And then eventually they have, a few $1,000s worth of hardware all sitting around their desk that is designed to recreate an aircraft at home. What I do is the opposite of that. I say, okay, you already have an airplane, obviously for the aircraft owners and the pilots of the group. They have an airplane that are wanting to simulate at home. Instead of taking everything and building an airplane at home or building a cockpit at home, we use the aircraft on a simulator. So going back to the joystick, instead of buying, what I call that, plastic joystick you buy from Amazon. So instead of buying that cheap plastic joystick you buy from Amazon that really doesn't move and operate and bank and pitch and roll the same way as your aircraft, we have sensors that we sell that simply just Velcro into the cockpit, and they attach to the aircraft controls. So when you move the side stick in Kyle's case, or when you move the yoke of that 172, it's translating that actual physical control stick movement into a USB connection or a Bluetooth connection to the computer. So for the flight simulator folks, they know as soon as they plug in a USB, it pops up on the computer. They go to the gamepad control menu from Windows, or Mac has their own, and they calibrate that axis, and they have the control stick. It's the same thing for SimYourPlane. It allows you to sit in your airplane and use your airplane as the control input device for your simulator. You pair that, again, in Kyle's case, you pair that to a laptop and a set of VR goggles, and you can sit in your plane and virtually fly your airplane. And again, it's pretty cloudy out here today, so we probably wouldn't be flying. But again, you can go into the hangar at an air show, sit in the plane, and go fly an air show performer's airplane. Something that very, very few people in the world will ever get to do, but people at the show got to do it because they were able to sit in the airplane, move the stick around, move the throttle around, move the pedals around, get a feel for what the airplane really feels like.
Wow. So essentially, you can be on the ground flying that particular aircraft with all the controls and stuff all around you, but basically in a virtual environment.
Yes, correct. Kyle can attest to this. I think it's a little bit of a kind of a weird matrix effect, because what happens in Kyle's plane, we have a VK Skylabs Long Easy model that VK Skylabs made for us, and his airplane is exactly modeled in X-Plane to the point where the stickers, the logos, everything on the aircraft is exactly in the same place. So you have the VR goggles on, you're flying over Oshkosh, you have the crowds, the airplanes, you have everything there. And we say, all right, let's pause. And you pause and you take the goggles off, and oh, wait, I'm still here because you're still in the same airplane.
Wow. So Kyle, like Ben's saying, you're an avid user of this. What's it like from your experience then as a pilot using this kind of virtual reality tech and the SimYourPlane hardware?
For me, it's pretty unique to use this. It's a lot of fun, and like Ben says, it's absolutely impressive how accurate the flight simulator is, how accurate the VR is, and even the long easy modeling. Like it's really quite good. My approach to this is a little different. Like I use this for air shows. I use it to give exposure to SimYourPlane, but I also use it for media rides as an air show performer, because usually when we go to a show, we usually try to do media rides, and in a day we can do maybe 3 media rides as long as it's a good day and everything goes really smooth. But now, if I wanted to, I could do 100 media rides or more. I can give rides to anybody who comes up to the plane, any of the volunteers. One of the areas that I really like is that with the military guys, I give a lot of rides to military pilots because it helps promote them get into general aviation. But unfortunately, we've only got so much time at an air show, and a lot of the times the crews get left out, the ground crews, and they don't deserve to be left out. I try to give them rides when I can, but now with the flight simulator, everybody's welcome to hop in the plane and go for a spin. And it's really unique. I can go sit in it if I want to. Like, I'm trying to redevelop my show for next year, so I can go sit in my airplane for hours on end if I want to, and sit there, and I can fly through a sequence, see how the flow goes with it, and how it works. And from that point of view, it's been an amazing tool for me as an airshow performer.
Wow, that's really cool. So obviously you talk about like doing it for airshow planning, and obviously you've been using it at shows like at Oshkosh and other places. As a pilot then, do you think this type of technology and these tools would be good for learning aircraft if you were able to kind of get your hands on them?
Absolutely. I mean, part of what I think the benefit of this really is that muscle memory of getting in that plane and getting familiarized with the plane. Even for somebody who's new, learning how to fly, I think it's a great tool. You can go out, you can practice all your procedures, and if you crash, well, that's okay. Just hit the restart button and away you go. Or if you're a pilot that, I haven't flown for a couple months, I'm not really comfortable, there's no flight instructor in the area. Now you can get in your airplane, you can go out, you can work on your procedures, because getting down in that like the methodical procedure of this is how it goes works really well. And one other thing that I think is absolutely critical on this is I used to have the view that like aviation needs more people in it, and it's not just as pilots, mechanics, enforcement, all sorts of areas. And I think air shows are an amazing tool for that. My job as an air show performer is to be an ambassador for aviation, whether it be flying or somebody who wants to get into tech, or somebody who wants to be a mechanic one day, or engineering, or whatever it may be. And I still believe that air shows are a great tool, because you come there, you've got this really energetic event that's going on, and people get really excited about it, and get to come and talk to performers, and we get to help motivate them pursue a career in aviation, should that be what they want to do. But I think that this is the new tool to use for the younger generations. Like we have up in Canada, we have Copa for Kids, and down in the States, you guys have EAA's Young Eagles and stuff like that. And I think that this tool could be critical for getting young people into aviation. I really think it's an amazing tool, and I think it can be really, really utilized in that area.
So I imagine a lot of our readers and stuff will be thinking how they could use this for their own, both for education and also for entertainment purposes. So the question to you then, Ben, is the technology sounds amazing. It sounds really cool. But in terms of kind of setting it up and the requirements of what people would need to kind of use this, where do people begin and what would people need to utilize this?
Yeah, so what we do is we have standard SimYourPlane kits. Now, what the kit comes with 5 sensors. I tell everyone those sensors are single-axis sensors. So if you can imagine pitch, roll, yaw, and then what you have is you have the last two that you can do pitch, roll, yaw, and say throttle, or say throttle if you're in multi, or throttle mixture, or throttle flaps. Let's say you're on a Cherokee. And then the actual setup for the person is pretty simple. They take the box, they open the box up, they take a sensor out, they take some Velcro that comes in the kit, and they simply just Velcro the sensor in place, pull the string out, and they attach it to whatever you want to pick up. So in Kyle's scenario, we have a front seat and rear seat on the Long Easy, and so it's simply just attached directly to the side stick. On the throttle, it's simply just attached right to the throttle. Now, those sensors can be mounted virtually anywhere. So I would tell everyone the sensors that is in the kit, that's in Kyle's plane, that's in all the kits that I've distributed and sold, they've been installed on everything from a King Air to a huge 500 helicopter to a Long Easy to aerobatic airplanes to GA airplanes. They install and do anything. They're very universal. And so beyond mounting the sensors, the next step is simply just plug it into a computer. So the connection is just a simple USB connection to the computer. If you have X-Plane, our joystick libraries are built into X-Plane. So if you have the latest X-Plane, they're already built in. You simply plug it in, X-Plane recognizes it, and it says, hey, let's calibrate. And then you move that control stick around. Beyond that, a computer. So you can do a laptop, you can do a desktop. I tell everyone, hey, if you don't want to do the investment, great. Guess what? Go buy an Android tablet. Buy an Android tablet. There's a $9 game on the App Store. It's called SimYourPlane. A lot of real big flight simulator guys go, no, that's not a real simulator. Well, guess what? If you go and buy yourself a $50 tablet on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and you buy the kit, guess what? You can use that tablet as your simulator. And so you don't have to have the laptop. You don't have to have the VR. You don't have to have all these things. You can pull out your phone, and I can just Bluetooth connect to my phone and just use my phone as the viewing device. Now you're limited to infinite flight or simple planes as your platform. But with the new advance of simple planes coming to VR, that's a great solution. So you have your Oculus Quest, you have your sensors, go to your plane, Velcro in place, and once they Velcro, the string comes out and you just zip tie. And whenever you're done, you just undo the zip tie and you're out of the plane. I will say this, going back to really the kind of the core community of the flight simulator community, a lot of guys really want to use real flight hardware. So a big thing a lot of folks do is they go to the junkyard, they go to an aviation scrapyard, and they go buy a real CRJ, or they go buy a real fill in the blank, whatever that is. And they want to integrate that control stick into the computer. Well, the problem is then you have to 3D print this little bracket, and then, print this little thing, and then mount this, and you have to solder this little board. And a lot of guys go, oh man, that's too much. Whereas in my case, you simply take one of your sensors, Velcro it in place. Okay, if it's a full-time solution, just glue it in place. Take the string out, attach it, and you're done. And so the ability to make actual real flight hardware into simulation hardware, it's easy. There's no soldering, there's no 3D printing, there's no programming, there's no Arduino figuring out what code to use. It's simply plug and play.
Wow. So I guess, you could take any plane almost, and, if that plane exists within the simulator, you could almost be flying the same thing, really.
Correct. Yeah, and again, for SimYourPlane, it doesn't have to be an actual real flying airplane. So a lot of aircraft that I've done simulations on, they're actual real flying aircraft. They're Kyle's plane, they're air show before, they're helicopters that they're doing work on. One of the projects that I'm working on right now is an FAA approval on a Hughes 500 simulator. We're using the exact same sensors, the exact same technology, exact same everything that we would do on a real flying aircraft. But that aircraft, that Hughes 500, is actually a whole wreck thing that we cut to pieces and just mounted it on the steel base. So the sensors are the same, the hardware's the same.
Wow, that's incredible. And you guys are bringing this obviously to Expo. We're recording these a little bit beforehand. What sort of experience for people who might be looking to check out booths and stuff? What can they expect from you guys this year?
Yeah, so we'll have all our products there. We're going to announce some really exciting stuff at the show. We'll have different variants of the kit. So we have the Bluetooth variant, we have the USB variant, we have our new Made in America sensors, which we're really proud of. We're basically bringing manufacturing back in-house. And so it's going to be a completely organically built from the ground up product for ourselves. It's at a much lower price point than our pro-grade sensors, so we're kind of differentiating between a consumer-based sensor and a pro-level sensor. And then we have just a few other miscellaneous stuff. We have one of our U.S. airshow performers that's going to be there giving VR rides on the laptop there, so people can have fun with that. We won't be bringing any big airplanes into the trade show booth. I don't know if the hotel is really going to like us if we bring a big airplane in there, but we'll definitely have some cool stuff for the show.
Awesome. Is there anything you can tell us about the stuff you're going to be showing off at Expo, or the consumer stuff?
Yeah, so the consumer sensor is going to be a $299 variant of the kit. So the $299 variant of the kit is a heavy discount from the $899 pro-grade sensor. So the pro-grade sensors right now are an aluminum body sensor with a steel cable. We've decided that, hey, we want to make the entry into the market a little bit easier. So that guy that already has a really expensive home cockpit, but he has a 172 and he wants to get his kid involved. Well, great. Here's a more consumer grade version. So that $299 version is going to be a plastic body that's going to be a nylon string cable. The PCB board on there is designed by ourselves. The programming is designed by ourselves. The parts for them are all manufactured behind me. You can see some 3D printers behind me, and then we have a shop where we manufacture everything else. So we're trying to do. Obviously, you're in the UK, but it's kind of that country pride in your own country. That everything you did, you built in your country. The PCB boards are manufactured up in New York, and so everything is really going to be made in the US, even down to the zip ties. The zip ties are made in US zip ties. So that's going to be really kind of our big launch. The next thing we're unveiling is a small 5-port button or 5-port Axis PCB board. And so a lot of folks struggle with taking that flight hardware and wanting to build a simulator out of it. A lot of guys go with the Arduino Mega route or some Arduino board that they don't know how to program, and they have to have this pin board, they have to solder, and just a bunch of stuff that just gets really difficult. What we're going to release in the show is just simply just a really small little board that people can take, and they screw terminal the sensors in place, and then plug it into the USB, and bam, it registers in X-Plane already. And so the idea to make that sim cockpit community a little easier to get to, so people don't have to struggle to create that, the Hawker Hurricane cockpit and integrate that into X-Plane, let's say, or
right.
STS for that matter.
Yeah. Wow. So you've got really busy shows. So not only are you showing off all of the stuff that you've currently got, but also announcing all these new products as well. That's awesome.
Yeah. The last thing we're going to be announcing at the show is we are. Show my packet here. This is my only prop that I have for this meeting. So I have a nice big stack of papers here. This nice big stack of papers is the AC 61136B. So for the FA folks, they can look that up. And that is the BATD and AATD approval. So we are going to, hopefully, as far as every conversation we've had with the FAA is concerned, we are the first ones to be submitting for approval for virtual reality for an AATD training device.
Wow.
If that comes through, we will be the first FAA certified VR simulation out there. EASA, so Europe beat us with the R22 simulator. We're hoping to beat them in the US and get FAA approval on our Hughes 500. To take that just one step further, another fun thing we're going to show off at FS Expo is the ability that we have now to simulate aerial saw cutting within the software. So for the folks that don't know what that is, jump on YouTube and just type in helicopter aerial saw. Long story short, I got a little prop here. So if you can imagine, you have your helicopter, and then imagine a 100-foot beam of pipe underneath it, and attached to that 100-foot beam of pipe is 10 2-foot diameter saw blades underneath that rolls along and cuts the edges of trees. So that is all going to be built within the next rev of X-Plane. So right now we're using an intermediate build of X-Plane 12 right now. That's going to be able to allow us to do aerial saw work, which goes back to the FAA approval, because that's going to be our first VR approved FAA sim.
Wow. Loads of stuff from you guys then this year.
Yes.
Incredible.
It's definitely been a busy year for sure.
Amazing. And hopefully we'll have some pictures and stuff of all of their hardware over on fselite.net at some point after this interview. Amazing. So Kyle, is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap things up, or yourself, Ben?
I'm pretty happy with that.
Amazing.
It's good for me, and we appreciate everyone coming out. It's for us, it's really the people like Kyle and some of the other guys that we work with that really kind of help us, because they're the guys that are using it every day. Kyle, he had, who knows how many kids. We turned the system on, and all of a sudden it's like a light switch. There's just this flock of kids. It's like a lamppost out in the middle of the woods at night, and there's flies and gnats all around it. It's just everyone gravitates to that. But it's that kind of gravitation that really helps us, because it's, we see things that go, oh, let's do this a little different. Oh, let's do this a little different. But I don't think there's been a single place where we've showed this off that it hasn't been, oh, wow, this is really cool. I want to try this.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some of the pictures from when you went to Oshkosh and stuff, and yeah, you're right. Like, you're just surrounded by all these people and intrigued people wanting to try it out. And I hope you get the same success at Expo at the weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. So yeah, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you both so much for taking the time to talk to us about SimYourPlane. If you guys who are watching want to check it out, we'll drop some links in the video description, and you'll find them all over our website as well. But Ben, Kyle, thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic show at the weekend. And we look forward to seeing what progress you make moving forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Yeah.